There's a lot of comic book television shows out there. Between the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Walking Dead, the DC Arrowverse, and the numerous other comic book inspired shows, as someone who hasn't watched any of them, it's about time I tried to start catching up. So I was berated by my friend Jay to finally start watching The Flash, and my verdict so far, I love it. I'm currently working on a full season 1 recap video, similar to the way I do my film recaps, but while I'm working on that, I decided to take a break and make a more digestible video, similar to that of Jello Apocalypse's video, every Disney film reviewed in 10 words or less. This format's actually been around for quite a while, but I'm glad to see it kind of resurge, and I want to do my own version of it. So here is every episode of The Flash Season 1 reviewed in 15 words or less. Brevity is the soul of wit, but I needed a few extra words more than 10 on some of these. The format is pretty simple. I'm going to go through every episode of Season 1, give it a ranking out of 10, with 1 being awful and 10 being amazing, and then I'll review it in 15 words or less. At the end of the video, I'll go into a bit more detail of my favorite episodes and least favorite episodes. My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive. Let's start the flashbacks, pun intended. Barry's fast enough to get his dad out of prison, but that's morally wrong. If the word rogue is in the episode name, we'll be seeing Captain Cold. Don't get too attached to this good metahuman, because she dies. The Flash is a much better name than The Streak. Only 7 episodes in and the Flash has already lost his powers. You won't like me when I'm angry. Also, the Arrow's in this one. Captain Cold has a buddy named Heatwave, hashtag fire and ice. Filler, but really good filler. Can the Flash go faster than someone with teleportation? Kinda. Wait, so Firestorm is a combination of 2 people that were reported dead? General Eiling just won't give up on trying to capture metahumans, will he? Holy shit, so much just happened all at once. Easily the best episode! And the last episode is retconned by time travel. New trickster. I am your father. / I'm also the Joker. My name is Barry Allen, and this episode is mediocre. Wait, so the real Dr. Wells is dead? Yup. Wait, so Wells was always 1,000 steps ahead of them? Yup. Think Planet of the Apes mixed with King Kong. Captain Cold isn't trustworthy, but we get the team up of the century. Yo, I cried. It's a perfect season finale. The Flash Season 1 was almost a perfect season of television. I didn't hate any of the episodes and I was pretty much enthralled and ready for more at every point of the season. Not only that, but the pacing was fantastic. Most of the characters I can really get behind. There was this wacky comic book element that you don't see much of in modern comic book movies, and the soundtrack is phenomenal. I went ahead and ranked all the episodes in order of favorite to least favorite in a spreadsheet that you can see in the description box below, and here are my 5 favorite and 5 least favorite episodes of the season. For favorite, coming in at number 5 is the pilot. As someone who's used to watching anime and waiting through the first 3 episodes to see if I'll like a show or not, it's really nice to go into a seasonal TV show and know from the very beginning that I was going to enjoy the series. Sure, episode 2 could have been garbage, which I'll get to in a bit, but episode 1 just reassured me that I was going to enjoy The Flash. We get everything we need to know about Barry Allen and his transformation into the Flash in one single episode without being bombarded by too much information. Plus, we automatically get a little bit of foreshadowing into Dr. Wells' story. We get to know many of the main cast, and we even got a villain that's not that great, but his brother ends up showing up again in a later episode. At number 4, we have episode 20, The Trap. In the last few episodes of the season, so much plot happens. What's great about this is that you want to finish the later part of the season as quickly as you can, but the series still does a great job of unfolding the main plot throughout almost every episode from the very beginning, meaning there's not a lot of filler. The Trap just shows us how good Dr. Wells is and how much the rest of the characters completely underestimated him. Not only that, but they have a very interesting metahuman, which is a shapeshifter that Dr. Wells ends up even using at the end of the episode. I love bamboozles and plot twists that make you think, and this episode delivers all of that well. At number 3, we have episode 9, The Man in the Yellow Suit. No, not that guy, even though we basically have Curious George later in the season. The Man in the Yellow Suit gives us so much. At this point, we have 100% confirmation that Dr. Wells is the Reverse Flash, though we still don't understand what his motives are. Even though we know that Wells is the Reverse Flash, we're still confused because what's up with Reverse Flash beating up Dr. Wells? It doesn't make sense. Is that a hologram? Well, yeah, it is, but we don't figure that out until episode 15. We also get Barry finally telling Iris that he has feelings for her. Now, I'm not completely sure what everybody's stance on Iris is, including my own, because I'm not trying to spend too much time on the subreddit because spoilers. But in the first season, I find myself liking Iris most of the time and not liking her at other times. Either way, the character development in this episode is fantastic. It was also around this time that I started enjoying any screen time that had Joe and Barry together. The fondness that they share with each other as father and son is one of my favorite relationships of the series. Coming in at number 2 is episode 23, Fast Enough, the season finale. What does this episode not have? We finally see Wells confessing everything. We get time travel. We get heartbreaking moments that moved me to actual tears. Should Barry save his mother and have his perfect life? Or should he not save her, because that would mean that he wouldn't live with Joe and Iris and he wouldn't be the Flash? And it's weebly wobbly timey wimey. Either way, we see that Dr. Wells is killed and we've got an Easter egg to Jay Garrick that's probably going to be in the next season, which is pretty dope. There's a cliffhanger. It's the perfect season finale. And I need to finish this video so that I can start watching season 2. But while the season finale was one of my favorite episodes, my actual favorite episode was episode 15, Out of Time. This was the first episode that just kind of left me speechless. Here we have an episode that foreshadows time travel towards the beginning, puts all of our characters in such massive life altercations. Cisco dies. Iris tells Barry that she loves him. Joe is about to die. Barry reveals that he's the Flash to Iris. We hear who Dr. Wells really is. They bring back a villain from the first episode. There's just so much that happens in this episode. And by the end of it, it's completely retconned by time travel. And as a person that loves the concept of time travel, and time travel done right, I absolutely fell in love with this episode. It gives us the perfect what-if scenario with real stakes, only to push us back to the beginning of this episode for episode 16. It's the pivotal mark in the season where things really start to push forward, and there wasn't an episode that I loved more. Now, a little bit more briefly, let's talk about the episodes I didn't like as much. Episode 14, Fallout, happened to be my 5th lowest score, coming in at a 7 out of 10. While I liked this episode within the 5-star mark, there were many more that I enjoyed more. The next one is episode 10, Revenge of the Rogues. This is the first appearance of Heatwave and the second appearance of Captain Cold. Again, I didn't dislike this episode, it did get a 7 out of 10, but personally, Captain Cold hasn't grown on me yet. I hear that he's a great character and I'll probably grow to like him in the future, but so far I just can't get behind his cheesiness. And yes, I know what you're saying, the Flash has a bunch of cheesiness, it's the comic book wackiness of it all, which I do enjoy. I don't know, Captain Cold's just not my cup of tea currently. Episode 3 is the next episode in my least favorite category, Things You Can't Outrun. Personally, there's some great moments in this episode between characters, but I think that the metahuman The Mist was just another one that I didn't like at all. There is a moment where Joe almost dies and we see Barry come to terms with not being able to break his father out of jail, but it wasn't a great episode to me. The only 6 out of 10 that I gave, and the penultimate least favorite episode, was episode 2, Fastest Man Alive. Again, it kinda comes down to the metahuman. We're so early in the series here that they can't reveal too many plot points, which I get, so it's that freak of the week territory that the Flash has, with this week being Multiplex, the guy who can perform Shadow Clone Jutsu, and you know, this guy just didn't do anything for me. We do get the last minute of the episode where Dr. Wells kills Simon Stagg, which becomes kind of important later on in the series. Once again, meh. And my least favorite episode, getting a solid 5 out of 10, which again is not bad, was episode 18, All-Star Team Up. This episode was so obviously filler, and there were moments that I was just kind of confused with, especially since this is heading towards the end of the season and almost every episode after it was filled with a lot of important plot stuff. This one just kind of felt out of place. For an episode to introduce a character so far in the season, this didn't seem like the best way to do it. We get the introduction to the Atom, a billionaire who has a suit who in the comic book can turn small, similar to Marvel's Ant-Man, but then we don't see any of that in this episode. We also get this weird double date thing with Eddie and Iris, Felicity and Ray, and then Barry tags along. The metahuman is also weak, considering she's not a metahuman, just someone who has a knack for robotics and bees. It's like if the woman from B-Movie was also a mad scientist. Either way, like I said, this episode isn't bad, it was just extremely mediocre. So there we have it, every episode of season 1 of The Flash reviewed in 15 words or less, along with my favorite and least favorite episodes. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, if you want to see more of The Flash, the rest of the Arrowverse, and more comic book shows and movies, hit that subscribe button. I've got a fully comprehensive recap of the first season with more thoughts about the series coming out soon. I'll be watching season 2 as soon as that's finished. I'm doing recaps of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and hopefully those shows at some point soon too. So hit that subscribe button if this sounds like your type of content. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. Goodbye.